What's going on, fish? Welcome back to your favorite pond. We've got Kev Dog back with us this week for the 50th episode.
Wow.
Who would have guessed it? We've done it almost a year. We'll have the same kind of celebration in about 2 weeks when we hit a year mark. But we've been doing it for 50 episodes, 50 weeks.
Unbelievable.
Pretty exciting stuff. There's nothing really special with the number 50 about this episode whatsoever. Nevertheless, one exciting thing I can share with you guys is we now have our voicemail box set up. So this is a new website, kind of a new provider, if you will, new service that is specifically for recording up to 90 seconds worth of a voicemail and leaving it kind of for us to review. It's through SpeakPipe, I think the name of it is. I'll have it. The link for it will be in the description. I'm showing a little picture up here right now. It looked pretty easy to use. It looked fairly straightforward, not really much to it, which is kind of what I was going for. The way it works is you can either do it on your phone or your computer if you have a mic and it works easier that way. But you can actually just leave voicemails on your phone audio and go to the website on like Safari or Chrome, and it'll ask to use your microphone is how I believe it'll work. If that doesn't work though, because it seems like the easiest thing would just have people call a number and leave a voicemail that way, there's other routes we can kind of explore and go through different avenues. This one just seemed like the easiest overall. So, with that being said, if you want to leave us a voicemail with your fantasy questions, maybe your NFL team questions, or really anything else you want to tell us, comments, concerns.
Yep.
At the very least, we'll listen to them. I can't say that any of you idiots, my friends specifically, deciding to leave shit stuff in my inbox. It will not get featured on the show unless it's pretty funny. Maybe your favorite Cowboys joke of the week. I'm just kidding. But
there's been a few.
Yeah, there's definitely been a few. Nevertheless, that is up and running now. So check the description. It's on speakpipe.com, I believe, and then it's / the Coy Pond. This isn't a very big service, so we got our normal name, which is nice. And we're also getting the store up and running. That being said, let's dive into some NFL football.
Let's do that.
I think the best way to start off this week is to hold maybe a moment of silence, perhaps a celebration of life for a few players that went down this weekend and they're not getting back up. I prepared a eulogy for a certain Brandon Ayuk, and he had no good fantasy weeks this season. And I was told he was to be a top 10 wide receiver, and I didn't put him in the top 10, and we got some flack from her here and here. He won't be playing the rest of the season, and that's a shame. That is a real shame.
Brutal.
And then as you guys might have also seen, a really good quarterback went down this weekend. Wears an orange helmet. They called him King of the North. They said he was worth $230 million guaranteed money. Really feeling for Deshaun Watson out there. A bunch of his teammates said, role model citizen. They said,
Myles Garrett took issue.
They said, we're going to lose a big piece of the locker room. They said, our chances of making the Super Bowl just went down. In fact, like Deshaun Watson, I'd say they go up.
He did win 19 games in 4 years.
Yeah, or the winner or play.
I think he won.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in 4 years, 19 games.
All right, that's better than none.
You might be right. Maybe it is played in. That might have been played in.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Nevertheless,
it's shitty no matter how you look at it.
Moment of silence is over. Obviously that was a joke. I'm not dancing on the injuries of these players, to be clear. No one should be getting hurt and people cheering for it. However, there's a special place in my heart for Brandon Ayuk, given we caught some flack on our wide receiver rankings, and I was going to hold off until the moment came to kind of dance on the grave of those comments. Nothing else needed to be said about it. If you had Brandon Ayuk on your fantasy team and you took him in the first 3 rounds, good luck winning the rest of the season.
We tried to tell you not to.
We tried. We did our part.
And God bless the Browns fans.
Yes.
They finally find a way to get out of Deshaun Watson hell. This is probably it. He's done in Cleveland.
There's no way, right?
The cap hit will be $140 million, which they're going to take no matter what.
Right.
This, we will look back on, this was it. He is done.
He has to be. There's just no way.
Yes.
That obviously, again, not cheering for them getting hurt, But this experiment with Deshaun Watson has been anything but successful. I think is a fair thing to say.
Very fair.
It's a damn shame that he tore his Achilles. We're not saying that's a good thing.
No.
But for the Browns to win games, he should not be playing.
Amen.
Joe Flacco, Baker Mayfield should have been playing this year for the Browns, or at least starting, and then maybe DTR comes in. However you want to shake it up.
Exactly.
Other than those two injuries, Mike Evans, he went down this weekend. That was tough to watch considering he was getting targeted in the end zone on that play.
Chris Godwin.
Yeah, oh my God. In overtime, sorry. Towards the end of the game, the Buccaneers had that little bit of a comeback. That was painful to watch.
Heartbreaking for Buccaneer fans and Baker Mayfield fans.
I've been cheering for Baker since he left the Browns, and honestly, that sucked to see. I'm hoping... I can't remember what they said about Godwin. I haven't heard much about Mike Evans.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see.
I think Godwin's done for the year, and I think Evans was still maybe to come back, but probably the IR for 4 weeks at least.
I saw Godwin just got placed on IR for sure. Yeah. I bet you they have to test his ankle because I think it dislocated maybe. Oh. Then Mike Evans had that hamstring injury, and they haven't really released much since Godwin's looked, I think, a little bit more serious since then. Nevertheless, those are two huge injuries, especially to the same team. But good.
I was just going to say, and Deebo Samuel was in the hospital with pneumonia.
Yeah, and I think he got cleared today.
So he did get out today, but they still are not sure that he'll play this week.
Okay.
I hope he doesn't play this week.
And also, on the opposite side of things, Tua's coming back for this week.
This is heinous.
I mean, if the doctors cleared it, it's his decision.
This is heinous. He will not be wearing the Guardian cap.
I saw that.
Which is stupid anyway. That thing doesn't prevent shit.
It doesn't feel like it.
But they're saying that he's going to run less. He's going to avoid hits. Sure he is.
Yeah.
You can't.
No one can.
It's a contact sport.
No one can believe that he can somehow take less hits other than just maybe he doesn't scramble as much. But I'm not even sure that would be technically true either because in the moment, you're not.
Each successive concussion requires less to cause you to be concussed. So
it's like
it's worse every time.
Exactly.
It's not worse next year or the year after that. It's worse 10 and 20 years from now.
Yeah.
It's a bad decision.
I don't think it's the best thing ever. I understand why he's going to give it another shot.
Yep.
That is a terrible situation to be in.
Really is.
Without a doubt. Feel for that guy for sure. I'm known as a Tua hater when he's on the field. Obviously, injuries are bigger than football. That is just a terrible situation to be in. It feels like it's a lose-lose either way.
It really is. And what are they going to call play-wise there? I mean, you're going to try to protect him,
right?
Which means you're going to do things more conservatively than ever.
Plays maybe,
which may actually get hurt more because you're being more conservative. I don't know. We'll see.
It'll be interesting.
Hope for the best.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think of any other injuries off the top of my head. I can't really think of any big ones necessarily.
Those are all main ones, I believe.
Saints are still crippled as hell. Yeah. Lord only knows what that team looks like this week against the Chargers, but we'll get into that later.
Yep.
On to the Week 3 Spooktober Award.
Did you already hit DeAndre Hopkins?
Oh, I didn't. No, let's do that real quick.
Since
we're on injuries and stuff. This week, D-Hop got traded to the Chiefs. I did not see that coming.
I didn't either. It's a great move for the Chiefs.
Sadly, it's a genius move.
For the Titans, they're kind of like, well, we're not really doing anything anyway.
We're not really passing the ball, so good on them. Fucking Chiefs.
Trade deadline, I don't know if
November
it was today.
5th?
Oh, it's coming up another couple weeks. Okay.
I think it's November 5th. Don't quote me on it. I'll put it up here.
We still have some big names to keep an eye on for that, I think. Including Max Crosby.
Right, Max Crosby. Who was I saying earlier? Cooper Kupp, another big one. Matthew Stafford, another big one. I think I saw that rumor has it he might be connected to the Vikings.
Okay.
In some regard, which, I mean, that'd be great, but also you already have Sam Darnold doing pretty damn well, so I'd be interested to see the, not validity, but how that shakes up.
Yeah.
Another one, I saw rumors that Njoku might get traded.
Interesting.
I saw he had connections to the Broncos, Chargers, and maybe Colts.
Wow.
But I also don't really know the validity. You get all these Twitter accounts that are just posting shit for interactions. So take it with a grain of salt. Half the time, it doesn't go down the way you thought because everyone was saying Kupp to the Chiefs as soon as that got announced. That Kupp was looking to be traded. And now I don't even know if he's looking to be traded. But he was being talked about yesterday like that. So,
and you got to believe that maybe the Chiefs know more about Juju Smith-Schuster's injury.
Yeah.
If they're making this move.
You would assume.
So maybe that's driving that one as well. I don't know.
I could definitely see it. I mean, D-Hop came out of nowhere. He'll definitely catch touchdowns in the playoffs once they get there. And they've been making it work so far to this point. I mean, what's that? The Chiefs defensive coordinator's name?
Spagnuolo?
Yeah.
Spags.
Yeah. Absolute genius.
Really is.
It really pisses me off.
Yeah.
But he is an absolute genius. So the offensive side, as Patrick Mahomes said himself, hasn't been up to par as the last few seasons have been for him.
Yeah.
And they're playing terrible and they're 6-0.
Yeah.
Fucking, it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
Good on him. Good on him. I hate it, but good on him. On to my favorite part of the show.
Yes.
We have week 3. Our third ever Spooktober award to give out. Now, this man played in a divisional game this weekend. He did not surpass 100 passing yards. He got paid. This last season? 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
He got paid relatively
he did.
recently.
2 seasons ago, I think.
A heavy sum of money, I'd say. Some would question it. They had their second string and third string in last year. The Italian Stallion, the Punctured Lung Bandit, both played on this team. The Week 3 Spooktober Award goes to the king himself of New York, Daniel Jones. Congratulations, Daniel, you did it. You lost your division rival in sweet under fashion.
And just when you thought they couldn't regress further, they did. Eagles played a solid game. Daniel Jones is regressing at a massive scale. I have no idea what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of a running game, perhaps? I don't know.
Who knows?
He is not looking good. They are not looking good.
They are not.
And they are slipping quickly into the abyss.
I can only imagine how hot that seat is getting for Dable, however the hell you say his name. Unfortunate, to say the least, but congratulations, you've done it. This very highly regarded podcast has now granted you the ultimate superlative of the Spooktober Award Week 3.
Very prestigious.
Very prestigious. Look forward to Week 4, the final week of Spooktober. It might get a bit spooky. God, that has been the most fun thing I've done this week or this month. All right, nevertheless, we're going to get into some football now. I appreciate you sticking around for what might be the goofiest first half of a podcast we've done. I kind of enjoyed that. Be. That was nice.
77 subscribers.
Yes.
Hope you're loving every second of it.
Damn it, you better be. And if you're not, I understand.
We'd love to get it to 80.
Yes,
phone a friend, call a friend, subscribe a friend.
Take a hold of your mom's phone and subscribe on her YouTube account. She doesn't use it.
It's free.
It's free. It costs
Come
nothing.
On. You know you wanna.
We're on Spotify, Amazon Music, and something else. Apple Podcast. Damn it, that app's already on your phone. You don't have to download anything.
Come on,
I get it.
Do it now.
Why not? All right. We're going to talk about a couple games this week from the previous week. We're not going to get into all of them.
Just going to highlight a few that we
and please, in the comments, I know I'm asking a lot today from you guys, but hang out with me. I feel like us going over every game from the previous week by Thursday may be a bit much. So maybe we just highlight the games we watched or loved, and we'll give a more opinionated response.
Going to zero in on what we think was significant.
And at the very least, zero in on the Cowboys and the Chargers, at the very least.
That'll be added in there. Certainly.
If you want us to keep on a certain team, leave it in the comments. I'd be happy to watch your team lose that week. Nevertheless.
Talk about the Cowboys?
No.
Oh, you bastard.
Yeah, you caught me, other than the Cowboys.
Damn it.
Would you like to get into yours first?
I would love to hit what was my favorite game.
Yeah, let's do it.
My favorite game had to be the Steelers-Jets game.
That was amazing.
And, I don't know that you could be a Cowboys fan and be a Steelers fan at the same time, but
you can win.
Whatever.
No. I was cueing you to say when the other team's quarterback is.
Yes.
There you go.
We love Tomlin. We always talk about Mike Tomlin.
Genius.
And who doesn't like Mike Tomlin?
I agree.
That team looked awfully good.
Damn it.
With the most offensive point output, I think, since 2018, if I saw that right.
Yep.
Russell Wilson looked like Seattle Russell Wilson. Slinging it around there. He looked good. He looked comfortable. kind of makes you wonder about the time in Denver. But
Right.
Mike Tomlin knows how to get it out of his players. Mm-hmm. And between that defense, that special teams, Aaron Rodgers had him going at the start.
The start was beautiful.
And all of a sudden, the Steelers just kept working it. And he dropped that one ball from the sky to Pickens. And Pickens looked like, DK Metcalf or some shit like that.
He looked like he's always open.
He looked awfully damn good. And all of a sudden, the running game starts hitting it. And the Jets had no answer for it. And I tell you what, if a Mike Tomlin team gets all three phases going, that's going to be interesting to see how they do up against the Ravens coming up.
I'd agree with that. And when there's an unbeatable team, the best bet to beat them is a division opponent. 9 out of 10 times. Occasionally you get like the Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes during the week. That's a different kind of vibe to it. But divisional games, everybody knows each other a little bit better. They see each other twice a year. They've probably hated the other guy for multiple years if they haven't been fired already. I would agree that if there's someone that's going to kind of level the Ravens other than the Chiefs in that first game, which you could argue was a whole bunch of other stuff, it's going to be the Steelers.
Yeah. And if you watched the game at all or saw any of the memes that followed it, the highlights, I think what I really liked is the passion. You saw so much heart come out of the Steelers.
Yes.
Between the special teams coach when they blocked the field goal or whatever it was.
That was like the second one they blocked technically too.
That was incredible. And I don't know how many packs of gum that guy had in his mouth, but that had to be a world record in and of itself.
It must have been the whole pack.
And Tomlin, he was stoked. But my absolute favorite moment is when the Steelers had 12 men on defense on the field, and Rodgers is trying to snap the ball to get him caught up with 12 men. Tomlin very alertly and smartly calls a timeout, and you see him just staring at Rodgers with a big grin like, you didn't get us.
Yep.
And you see Tomlin look out there and go like this, and you see Rodgers just go with his helmet. And I thought, that's just so cool.
Yes, those are two veterans that knew exactly what was going on between each other, trying to beat each other to the punch line. You get what I mean? But that was not at all what I expected. I expected the Jets to have a little life. Obviously, Devontae Adams, that was his first time playing with Rodgers. And there's going to be some growing pains. It's been a couple years. Garrett Wilson, couple flukes. What's his name? Beanie Bishop. The Steelers, both picks.
Incredible.
They blocked 2 kicks, but technically it was only 1 because they claimed he got leverage.
Yeah.
That was kind of a bullshit call, but
it really was.
I get if you touch any part, okay, if that's the rule, so be it.
Yeah.
It's just an incredible performance. It was in Pittsburgh. That's really not that far from the Meadowlands, if you will. But oh my God, that defense was fired up. Russell Wilson took a little bit to get going.
He did. It didn't come out hot.
I will admit, I was on the Russell Wilson sucks train. I kind of forgot that he was on the Broncos for 2 years. But once he got zoned in, he was just touch pass after touch pass to George Pickens. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, he looked fantastic. And
Najee Harris and Warren as the tandem running backs.
Yeah,
that looked great too.
Warren had like 11 or 12 carries or something.
He had some good amount of catches too.
So, So anyway, that's my game. The Steelers, Tomlin, the heart, everything you saw right there come to life.
Yep.
That hadn't been there. I hope Rodgers figures it out because the league is better with him being good too.
I completely agree.
And I think with Devontae Adams and Hassan Reddick now signed, they've got a shot. They could get back in this thing. That division is not killing anybody.
No.
So they've got a chance. They got the Bills there to deal with.
Right.
But it's in their hands. They get them again.
I completely agree.
They could take them down, especially with what they've added. So
yes, it'll be interesting with some of the defensive injuries they had. Sauce was a little banged up. They had a couple other corners that were banged up.
Yeah.
And, we're slowly realizing that this Jets defense that we've made in our head from the last couple of years is not the same defense that we're used to.
It's really not.
I mean, last year they were allowing like little to no points each game, and they snuck a couple wins with Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
And now Aaron Rodgers has to put up 35 to win a game in prime time. So we'll see if they can get that under control. I'm hoping the best because I agree Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs means the NFL's doing better.
Yeah.
But
They just got it, and they started doing it, getting Breece Hall back involved more.
They did.
I think that line, because it was all new, that offensive line is starting to gel now. And if they get that running game going, it'll protect the defense, which is what worked so well for them last year, I think.
It keeps the possession time up, too.
It does.
Big factor. Not playing from behind. But good pull. I like
right,
that
buddy.
one.
How about you?
I'm just gonna go with the Chargers game because I watched that one pretty thoroughly. I might lean Ravens Tampa Bay. That was now I'm gonna do Chargers Cardinals. It was probably the most boring game of this past week, but nothing. Every fan of the Chargers that watched that drive where Herbert throws a 60-yard, 40-yard bomb to Rieger, he catches it 2-yard line. He goes for the end zone. It gets punched out inbounds, and the Cardinals recover. Knew that they weren't winning that game after that.
Yeah, all those Zay Flowers.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most Chargers way to just lose a game. J.K. Dobbins, I mean, they kicked 5 field goals, I think.
Wow.
Or was it? Yeah, they lost 17-15.
Okay.
They kicked 5 field goals. J.K. Dobbins barely got started until the second half, and when he did, it was I think he got 50 or 60 rushing yards total. It was pretty abysmal. The Cardinals did not look great. I don't think Marvin Harrison had little to anything that entire game. Kyler Murray ran for a touchdown. I think that was the only touchdown, potentially. I could be remembering that wrong. Nevertheless, no, they had 2 touchdowns. I'm sorry. Maybe 1. I'm folding on myself. No, all I'm getting at is that touchdown that didn't happen because the Cardinals punched out. Great defense. Jesus Christ, it's the most Chargers thing ever. And then the unnecessary roughness at the end of the game to give the Cardinals the field position to kick the field goal and win. So stupid. I get why that could be unnecessary roughness. I don't see it. I call horseshit on that personally. But that's how the Chargers are going to be. I have to keep, as a Chargers fan, you have to keep in mind, this is Harbaugh's first year. He's made that defense go from, and Minter has made that defense go from one of the worst in the NFL to arguably one of the best in the NFL in a matter of 1 season, which is incredible. They focused on that. The first round draft pick was Joe Alt. He's looked amazing. Rashawn Slater back there, amazing. They're just missing the wide receivers and running backs now. And luckily, in most drafts in the last few years, those have been the easier things to patch.
Right.
So, assuming I think it's Jesse Minter, doesn't leave the Chargers, and Harbaugh is still there next year, which should be how it goes. I have plenty of faith going into the next year, but I have to keep in mind that this season is not going to be the Chargers season.
Yeah.
They still have a bit of a San Diego in them where just they snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. Or snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. The fuck? You get what I mean. Yeah. It pisses me off so much. But yeah, that game sucked all around. I mean, just pitiful, honestly. And I think Herbert threw for 300 yards.
Yeah. He was great. It wasn't his fault.
Disley was immaculate.
What the hell else can he do, right?
So it's just funny. Every Chargers game, if you guys pay attention, I think every receiver has 2 catches for 50 yards. And they just get sprinkled throughout, like the 6 of them that are all about the same amount. Given Quentin Johnston was out, so that's something to keep in mind.
Right.
But, oh my God, they didn't get Ladd McConkey involved until the last drive of the game. And they had to kick a field goal at the end of that anyway. Not beautiful, but it was my favorite game because the Chargers played in it. And to be honest, it's one of the few that I watched all the way through. Nice. The Jets-Steelers game was the other game I watched all the way through. And then the Ravens, Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
I just couldn't. That was a good one, but that was also Zay Flowers got banged up and fucked me there. And then also Tampa Bay almost came back, but then they didn't. And then 2 of the biggest players got hurt on their team, as we said. So that's why I went Cardinals, Chargers, nevertheless.
I'm going to insert here, if I can, a little Cowboy discussion.
Yes, please.
So since I wasn't here last week, I didn't get to debrief after the Detroit debacle.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to touch on that because I have the curse has been lifted. The Jimmy curse has been lifted. So I bought this shirt a year ago when we went to the Lions game with the screwball 2-point conversions where the Lions got fucked.
Yep.
And I bought this shirt because Jimmy Johnson went in the Ring of Honor that day, if you remember.
I remember. Yep.
Well, I think the shirt is backward. I think, a curse has been lifted. But I think Jimmy's so pissed about waiting to get into the Hall of Fame, the Cowboys Ring of Honor.
Has he reinstated it?
That he put his own curse back on Jerry. That's what I think the shirt really is about. And I have to give credit to the Uncle Fish store in Dallas.
Okay.
That's where this came from. But the curse has been lifted.
Very nice.
And really, outside of winning the division after that December 30th game, against the Lions, which, again, wasn't what should have happened.
Right.
The Cowboys lost and got blown out by the Packers. And if you think about it, the Cowboys haven't played a game at home worth shit since. So they've lost by crazy, crazy numbers.
You got a point.
And I give Dan Campbell credit and the Lions credit and the Lions fans credit because I knew it was going to be bad.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be that bad, but they just blitzed and crazily destroyed the Cowboys.
You know what? Still didn't get a big man touchdown, though.
They didn't, but they tried. And for all the time, I don't even know if you saw it, but the very last play, when they knelt down, they had Dan Skipper go in and check in with the ref as an eligible receiver.
Oh, my God.
It happened 5 times throughout the game, along with all the trickery and that shit.
That's hilarious.
And Dan, the whole time on the sidelines, is just gritted from ear to ear.
God.
So it was...
That was personal.
It was personal. It was deserved. And again, kudos to the Lions and the Lions fans for all that.
Yep.
And it absolutely unraveled Dallas.
Yeah.
To the point of Jerry Jones getting on the radio and bitching people out.
That was something else that happened.
Troy Aikman is bitching now about how the Cowboy receivers run crappy routes and take plays off. Now even Dak has come out and said we don't practice hard enough.
Oh, boy.
Along with Jordan Lewis from University of Michigan, cornerback for Dallas. And now, this week, on the same radio show that Jerry bitched out the interviewer,
right?
He now came out and said the play calling isn't good. So he's already getting on Mike McCarthy about the play calling.
He has 2 weeks?
That's all in 2 weeks since the bye. So the Lions left Dallas in a shitstorm. And Dan Campbell's got to be laughing seeing the headlines every day. It's another story about how they're fucked up. And again, think about that. Maybe this is the Detroit curse. But since that 2-point debacle situation, they've sucked at home.
So you're telling me is they need to give up a 2-pointer for the curse to be lifted?
I don't know what it is, but there's something over AT&T Stadium right now that hadn't been that way for a long time.
It's not a happy thing.
Not ever.
Ugh.
So
fuck.
We'll see what happens this week.
Right.
The Niners are banged up. The Cowboys are banged up. But I do want to acknowledge real quick a gift from Darlene and Tim.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you, Darlene, who's an avid follower of the Coy Pond.
Mm-hmm.
But back here, we have what's supposed to be me.
Yes, it looks really close.
Good. So she said that all the real, shows that she's seen, like ours, have bobbleheads.
Oh my God.
And so this little bobblehead thing here is awesome.
Yes, I love it.
Thank you, Darlene, and we appreciate it. And it's back here.
It'll
alive and well in the pond.
It'll be on the pond in the shelf.
And we'll be looking for getting Colin one of those so he's represented as well.
Oh boy, I don't know if I'm worthy. I don't know if I've done it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Nevertheless.
All right. Shall we?
The Thursday night game this week. Vikings at Rams.
Teams that play the week after playing the Lions.
Yes.
Don't do well.
Oh dear.
So I don't know if you've seen that stat or not.
I haven't seen that one.
The only thing that gives me hope for Dallas is they didn't play. They had a bye week.
Oh.
So, but if you play the Lions, I don't think one team that has played them has won the next week.
Wow.
We need to check that stat out. If there is, it's been one.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. The Vikings are probably beat up.
Damn.
They're traveling to LA.
Yeah. Pretty far flight from Minnesota.
So there you have it. There's my little background that I'm aware of.
Got it. And they lost one of their corners, one of their linemen.
Minnesota did?
Yeah, one of their linebackers, key part of all these QB pressures in their defense. It was,
okay.
God, I can't remember his name. It'll be here. But regardless, as far as on paper, the Vikings should dominate the Rams.
Favored by 3.
Favored by 3.
Yep.
They should dominate them. That's what scares me.
Yep.
Is I hate away favorites. It's horrifying. Cooper Kupp will be back, I believe.
Short week, travel.
Yep, short week travel.
Not good.
Not good. I don't like all the indicators point towards the Rams. and the Rams love to cover. I think Sean McVay did it last year against the 49ers. They kicked a field goal they didn't have to cover the points, supposedly.
He's a Miami guy. He's wily.
Yeah, he's watching them spreads. I saw him betting at Brick Street. But regardless, I know the Rams against the deep threat, they give up big chunk plays to wide receivers. That being said, Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson, you'd have to expect you're going to see a 40-yard pass at some point in that game to JJ, and he'll take it to the house more than likely.
More than likely.
Rams have not looked too impressive. They did just get done beating up the Raiders. So I have to assume that's going to be wildly different than playing the Vikings.
Yes. Maybe a little confidence booster.
Confidence booster. Yeah. That works the same way. That scares me a bit.
How do the Vikings react to losing?
Right. First loss. They can't be happy about it. That head coach of the Vikings has had an incredible first 2 years with a team that's not supposed to be good.
Off the charts good.
Like
a Mike Tomlin kind of accomplishments.
Rams have not been able to pressure quarterbacks at all. That's more room in the pocket for Sam Darnold to just do what he does and just make plays.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones, I don't think the Rams have been too hot against the rushing defense necessarily.
Yep.
I think, say what you want, but without Aaron Donald, they're still filling holes, it feels like. So Aaron Jones has been looking like Aaron Jones. Good. He's not going to get you 150 yards, but, he'll get you 85 Solid. And a touchdown.
Yep. He beats up on the defense.
Yep. So, just me personally, this is not the Coy Pond pick. I'm going to go with the Vikings, but I'm going to alt that to 2.5.
Okay.
That way it's, field goal wins you. I just have to think that one guy being out can't be enough that the defense can't figure out Cooper Kupp and, Matthew Stafford.
Right.
But this should be a good game. The over-under is, 48.5, I believe?
Yeah.
So, that's a high one for a Thursday night.
Yeah.
Get ahead of myself. 48.5 points is a lot. The team that you would expect to score 30 of those points is traveling after getting beat up by the Lions without one of their top defensive players. The Rams haven't been putting up that much offense.
Right.
I think the Rams might be 1-5 against the spread this season. And I don't know what the over/under is, but against the spread, they're 1-5. But that offense is without Puka, which means you got your tight ends. Robinson, I think they have as a wide receiver, and then you'll have Cooper Kupp.
Right.
It's not a hard equation to figure out what to do against that.
Yeah, true.
And running back wise, Rams.
Yeah, they still have Williams.
Still have Williams. Mm-hmm. Kyron Williams. Yeah, that's right. He's decent.
And I think Puka is not back this week, but it sounds like he might be back the next week.
That's what I think it is, too.
So, what are you thinking?
I don't know. What are we, 3-4 right now?
3-5? 3-4? 3-5?
I think it's 3-4 because this will be week 8, right?
And that's our over-under that we're talking about.
Over-under. 3-4. Out of premise, I would have to take the under here. What are your thoughts?
I'm going to go with you on that.
All right.
I think I was 0-2 in a row. So
no, you went 1-1.
Oh, 1-1? Okay.
Well, maybe 1-3.
1-2.
And then the last one had been 0-2. But
my initial thought was over, but the points you just made are really valid that, you got a short week. Teams, it may not be an explosive game.
Right.
It may be a more conservative game plan.
It could be. And even if it's a couple big touchdowns, you have to think that if the Vikings go up 14-0, maybe they lay on the gas. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, they held up offensively against the Lions, but I'm struggling. 48.5 feels like a no-brainer under, but the Rams, I'm gonna go under.
Yeah.
You down for that?
Yep. Let's do it.
Coy Pond, pick of the week, week 8. Under. And hopefully that hits. Well, hopefully it's a bittersweet when you pick it under, honestly. And how about you, winner?
I agree. Probably Minnesota.
Probably Minnesota?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Not to cover, though.
Not to cover, just to win?
Agree.
Okay. On to the next. Green Bay at Jacksonville. Somehow Green Bay is only favored by 4.5 against this team.
Seems awfully small.
Yes, and I get they're traveling. Jacksonville just beat up the Patriots, which I don't think is too impressive. It felt like more of their offense was clicking against the Patriots.
Yeah.
But their defense isn't the same one that it has been the last couple of years, similarly to the Jets.
And Jacksonville's been gone in Europe for 2 weeks.
Yep.
So they're adjusting back. I think Green Bay wins by at least a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm taking Green Bay spread. This is not a game I'm too worried about picking personally.
No.
Arizona goes to Miami. Miami's favored by 3. That's horrifying.
How could that be?
I think they're overreacting to the Chargers game. I don't know. Here's where I'm at. Chargers wide receivers did not look amazing. Chargers almost won that game by 4 points, give or take. Now, who knows how the rest of the game goes if the Chargers get that touchdown, but they didn't. Miami has Tua back, which means the ball is going to get moved around. All of a sudden, you are worried about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and you're not worried about just pressuring Snoop Huntley because it's Huntley.
Maybe that's the difference.
I don't hate Miami -3. I also don't think Miami has the defense that can hold down Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison has been banged up a little bit, though. They weren't targeting him nearly as much as I thought they would be in that game against the Chargers, whether he was covered or whether Kyler just wasn't looking his way. James Conner's a beast, though. That's right. He did get the other touchdown. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Earlier. It was Kyler Murray and James Conner. Arizona at Miami. I don't know. I might take Miami.
I mean, on the surface, you have to say if Tua's back, they probably should be favored, right?
Yeah, on the surface.
Yep.
But do the Cardinals get one good hit and he's down again?
Well, I'm wondering that.
Is this why the line is so conservatively in the middle?
Yeah. And it's hard to imagine Arizona winning 2 straight, too.
I almost forgot the script. Kyler Murray, when Call of Duty's release, sucks because he's playing Call of Duty all weekend. Call of Duty releases this weekend.
Does it really?
Miami -3. I am so sorry, viewers. I almost forgot one of the few things that I do know behind the scenes. New York Jets going to New England. New York Jets are favored by 7. Yeah.
I think the Jets win. I don't think it's by 7.
7. I could see
seems 7. A little high.
Seems high.
I'm gonna say the Jets by 4.
All right. I am going to take Jets -7 personally. I think they need to get right game. I don't think New England has it in them. What would be hilarious, though, is if Drake May tears up that Jets secondary.
It's at New England, so I know they're not traveling far,
right?
But it still is a difference.
No, I agree. I'm hoping New England wins that game. I think Jets cover.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at. Just so you guys know. Baltimore at Cleveland.
This will be ugly.
Baltimore -9.5. Ugly. The money line was not available when I was looking.
Really?
You couldn't take it. Baltimore definitely wins, in my opinion.
I would take the. Yeah.
I don't know the division record. I don't know how Lamar does against the Cleveland, but I don't think
it's going to be Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
So that's going to be turnover city.
Yeah.
Ravens probably score a defensive touchdown in this.
Yeah, Baltimore -9.5. Yeah. I'll take that.
And then they're going to plow over the rest of that defense.
Yes.
That will be a nice thing, interesting thing, because Browns do have a good run defense.
Yes.
It's going to be interesting to see Derrick Henry against Myles Garrett.
I agree. That'll be a fun one to watch.
It's a little bit like, King Kong versus
Godzilla. Godzilla. Philadelphia at Cincinnati. Cincinnati favored -1.5. At the time of us doing this, just to keep in mind, it will change before Sunday. Favorites at 1.5 when I check the spreads have historically not covered.
Okay.
I don't know where I stand on this personally.
Yeah, I think the game last week for Philly got them right.
Yeah.
I think Cincinnati is still not looking right.
They beat Cleveland by 10 points.
Yeah.
Give or take, from what I remember.
And I think Philly gets this one.
I'm going to take Philly. Sorry, Cincinnati fans. Philly at plus money. I hate Sirianni. Called him a baboon a couple weeks ago. Cincinnati has not shown me enough yet.
I think Kellen Moore's figured it out with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley.
They got Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown back.
Keep it conservative.
Yep. Indiana at Houston. When I looked earlier, the spreads were not available.
That's what this one says. Well, that's from what you did.
Yeah. Let me take a gander real quick. I will cut this out so that we're back. Indy Houston. Spread's not available the date that we're doing this. I just double-checked live. It's not there. So, for sake of it, we'll take winner.
Houston.
Houston? Yeah, it's at Houston. I'll give that to Houston.
Anthony Richardson's probably starting.
Yeah,
Houston.
Who knows who you're getting with that?
They'll harass him.
Yep. Tennessee at Detroit. I am just going to take Detroit.
Okay, I'm going to say Detroit here, but I'm going to say Detroit does not cover.
Okay, 10.5 is a lot of points.
They've had an emotional couple weeks, and they'll win this game,
But it might be 3.
But it might be 3 or 4 points.
Okay. I'm going to take them. I would alt that to -9.5 personally. That way you can win with a field goal and a touchdown.
Yep.
Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Atlanta favored by 2.5. They're going to Tampa Bay. You gotta think Atlanta wins this one only because they're going. Kate Otten can only get so many of those touchdowns. 15 on the Tampa Bay dropped everything that came his way. It was like Braxton Miller or something Miller.
Yeah.
Millen.
Yeah, McMillan, I think. Yeah. It's going to take them a little bit to get the groove.
Yes, they'll find it. I have full faith in Baker Mayfield. It's just when you lose your 1 and 2 receiver in the same week, that is criminal. New Orleans at the Chargers. Chargers favored 7.5.
Chargers cover.
I would say Chargers cover, but because it's me, I'd take it 6.5. That way you don't get fucked by a 2-pointer or field goal at the end or something.
Gotcha.
Buffalo at Seattle. Buffalo -3. Traveling to the other side of the world.
Seattle is hard to figure out.
I called them pretenders. Seattle, I apologize. You beat up the Falcons last week.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened at Atlanta.
Yeah.
Now, do they lose the game at home after winning the game away?
Maybe. They seem like that kind of team.
They do, don't they?
Up and down.
Buffalo, Amari Cooper's back. He already scored a touchdown, I think, last week, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Keon Coleman looked really good.
Yeah.
They're finding their groove.
Oh, man.
Hard not to go with Buffalo in that one.
It is. I think I'm going to go Buffalo. Just because. Just for the sake of it being like they could win everywhere else but at Seattle.
Yeah.
Chicago at Washington. Chicago's favored.
That's shocking.
That's because Jaden Daniels' injury.
And okay.
I don't know if he's starting or not. I haven't looked.
Mariota looked awfully damn good. I don't know if you saw it.
Yes.
And by the way, it was only 10-0 when Mariota came in.
I know. I was hoping that
he was the guy that did a lot of that.
Yeah. I guess they're banking on Chicago's defense. That would be the 2.5, even though it's at Washington.
I think that one's false.
I think the Commanders can score more
at home.
Yep. I'm going to take Washington to win. Or actually cover.
Yeah.
Plus 2.5, sorry. Kansas City at Las Vegas. Kansas City favored by 9.5.
I mean, Las
Vegas?
Yeah, Las Vegas just got beat up by who?
Rams.
Yeah. So Kansas City way better than the Rams.
Yes. And they'll have D-Hop for that game.
Yep.
I'm going to go with KC.
KC to cover.
The Raiders looked a bit rough again.
Yep.
I would like to take them because usually Las Vegas is one of those teams that can win some random game against Kansas City. I just don't see it right now.
They're with the Max Crosby, Devontae Adams. The quarterback shit is all a mess now. Aiden O'Donnell's gone for the year, I think.
Yeah, broken thumb.
They're screwed.
Yeah, they're kind of fucked, aren't they?
They don't have a running game. They don't know what the hell they're doing.
Carolina at Denver, -8.5. Denver?
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that at the very least, the altitude change for Carolina will be more than they're worth, and Denver has been looking pretty good.
It is hard to play in Denver.
It is.
So,
Dallas at San Francisco. San Francisco -4.5. Debo may not be back. Ayuk is out. Christian McCaffrey is not back. Kittle might be hurt. Trent Williams got ejected last game, or he's also hurt.
Yeah, I don't know what that was at the end of the game. I didn't see.
Remember. But regardless,
Cowboys are without Micah Parsons.
Okay.
Deron Bland may not play.
Oh, jeez.
And also DeMarcus Lawrence is still out.
Oof.
So that's trouble.
I will be taking the under. No, I don't know.
I told Colin earlier that this is the kind of year that Dallas could finally, in a game, beat the 49ers, but it's not going to matter because they're so shitty.
Mm-hmm.
And they are 3-0 on the road. I have to say they played the Browns. They played the Giants.
Yeah.
The Steelers game was something else.
Right.
The Steelers didn't have an offense. San Francisco may not have an offense much. But
I'm kind of split on this, actually.
I'm going to take Dallas in this one just because I think they finally get over the San Francisco hump.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think San Francisco will still make the playoffs, and Dallas will not.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to... Oh, man. Do I dare take Dallas?
Don't do it because I did.
I'll take San Francisco.
Yep.
That's
the way you're leaning.
Yeah, I'll take San Francisco.
Yep.
Giants at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh favored by 6.5. I would alt that to 7.
I would. I'd probably put it at 10.
And to be honest, I would take the over 36.5 points. That seems criminally low for an offense that was getting rolling against the Jets.
Let's just say this. If Russell Wilson can put a second game, a back-to-back game, And it's great for them. It's the Giants.
And it's still at home.
Even though it's still kind of a crappy team, they blow it out here, they're rolling.
Yeah.
I see this being like 30-10, some crap like that.
I agree. I think we're in for a rough Monday night next week. But
yeah.
honestly, there's some good games on here. It's more there's some questionable games with the spread.
Right.
Chicago, Washington stands out to me. Arizona, Miami stands out to me.
Agree.
Green Bay, Jacksonville could be interesting with the time change for Jacksonville. Primetime games this week, pretty classic games, I'd say.
Yeah, very classic. That Chicago Washington game is really interesting to me. That Chicago's favored by 2.5.
I agree.
I mean, Chicago's playing really well. If it was at Chicago, I'd probably see that.
Mm-hmm.
But at Washington, I don't see that.
The Philadelphia Cincinnati game could be one of the better games too.
Could be really high scoring.
Both have been very disappointing. Both have been very disappointing teams. Have come back a little bit. Have figured out their own offenses. Have also had still their same troubles. So should be interesting. But nevertheless,
and what's the over under on Nick Sirianni flipping off the Cincinnati crowd?
Oh, that'd be hilarious. He just spits in some kids like Mountain Dew.
He's gonna lose it again.
I can't do a Sirianni impression, but God, he's such an idiot. And I was not a fan. That Arizona Cardinals head coach just looks like an idiot.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy seeing him and his coordinators. It looks like he just copy-pasted 3 guys, and they're just bald and ugly. God.
Well,
I shouldn't say anything more. I'll get myself in trouble. Nevertheless, I think that's all we have for you this week.
Ready to wrap up?
Yep. Happy 50th episode. Thank you all so much for the support through the last year, basically. As always, have a safe week. Enjoy football, and we will talk to you all next week.
Out.
Peace.